I enjoyed your Biden montage coming in, and I just am looking forward to the debate between Trump and Biden.
Slow down. You think it's Biden?
I said this, and I said this 6 months ago.
Okay.
The others don't have any vehicle to get their name known at the level that you would have to win against Donald Trump. So even though many in the Democratic establishment don't particularly like Biden because of a variety of reasons, they know that if you run a Cory Booker or a Mayor Pete, they're not going to be able to get known because the media now is fixated on Trump. He sucks all the air out of the room. And, his opponent, as much as they want to prop people up, all right, it's still going to go back to Trump. Everything is Trump. So Mayor Pete can run around and tell everybody how clever he is, but if you do a survey, 90% of the voting public doesn't know who he is. So therefore, Biden is going to be the guy, I believe, unless something happens, and of course, that's always a possibility. And, he's a guy that could say anything at any time, just like the president. So these guys going after each other is going to be quite amusing.
You see, I think there's a good chance it's Biden, too. I don't like to make early predictions because I do believe that Biden's going to have to at least pretend to go even more left than he really is, although he's a pretty, left-wing guy in terms of the way his governance, especially under Obama. Here are his biggest problems to me, and nobody talks about it. As we now begin the process, and we will be taking in an avalanche of information about how bad this abuse of power, rigging Hillary's investigation, trying to steal an election, spying on the opposition party candidates, everything with Russia, and everything that has gone wrong with it. It all happened on Biden Obama's watch. So you're going to have this drip now, probably leading to significant indictments of high-level officials in the Biden-Obama administration. That will be on them. And if we vote peace and prosperity, that's a problem because after 8 years, Obama-Biden gave us 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty, lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, worst recovery in 8 years since the 40s, lowest home ownership rate in 51 years. They were the only administration in history never to reach 3% GDP growth in any one of their 8 years of service. And they accumulated more debt than every other president before them combined. And when you have to compare that to Trump's new record-breaking economy based on cutting taxes and ending burdensome regulation, and when you compare Trump's foreign policy to dropping $150 billion on the tarmac in Tehran for mullahs there that chant death to America, I don't think they're going to win on that front either. And I think people are going to vote the way they always do, peace and prosperity, and all the other noise is going to go away.
I don't know. I think people vote emotion these days. And so the churn, whatever the churn is going to dictate how people turn out. So if you look, and I did in the upcoming book on Trump, two things. First of all, I wasn't surprised by this New York Times report. I mean, I got this a year ago, but it's even more debt. The story how Donald Trump got out of it, out of the debt because of the casino misfires in Atlantic City. That's the story. Fascinating story about how he got out of it.
You raised a good point. But Bill, he's still a billionaire. He still owns a 757.
It's such a... He's right, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders is right by saying, well, this is a fake story, because it's real in the sense that the Trump organization, which he took over from his father, got in a lot of financial trouble. That's absolutely true. And the miscalculation was the casinos. But how he got out of it, and I'm not going to tell you because I want people to pre-order the book, is amazing.
You know, you're a masterful salesman.
Tale.
I know how he got out of it.
In the New York Times.
He played hardball with those that were holding his debt. He went into tense negotiations. He told them he's going to get out of it. Now, he was not the only person that was going through that type of turmoil economically, because literally Atlantic City, and we did not grow up that far from there, collapsed. The gaming industry in Atlantic City collapsed.
So did the New York City real estate market. You're on the right track. You have the general tone of it down, but I'm going to provide specific. You're going to love this book, Hannity. This is one of the few books going to keep you up.
I like your books. I don't know how you do it, because I can't stand writing. I despise it.
It's a killer. Because I had to report the book as well as write it. I had to report it because everything that has been written about Donald Trump, not everything, but 90% of it is bull. It's not true. And I'm not using any anonymous sources. All right, give us
this insight, if you can. What did you learn by writing a very different book about Trump, something you learned about him that most people would be surprised about?
That he is a man who everything he does is transactional.
This is true. Everything he does is a negotiation. Mr. President, I need you for 20 minutes tonight on TV. Oh, I'll give you 10. You know, but really I wanted 15, so we end up... I just learned I double the time that I really want. That's the only way you get it. And then if he says no to 20, I'll give you 5, he'll still give you 20.
Yeah, but he conducts himself in a way that I've never seen a human being act the way that he acts. Now, that has a positive side and a negative side, all right? And then I get into very specifically, because I've known him, I think, even longer than you've known him, all right? And I was so surprised about some of the things that I found out, because he's not a guy he's not going to his high school reunion. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. He's not. He doesn't look back. I had to pull it out of him, drag it out of him. At one point, he called Melania in. We're on Air Force One. He goes, "Where's Melania? Where's my wife? Tell Bill to stop." That's exactly what he said. Tell Bill to stop.
You can be annoying, O'Reilly. Let's be honest. I mean, that's not.
Well, I know I'm obnoxious.
Oh, I know that's true.
I get the story.
That's not hyperbole. I bet that happened. You used to hang out with him. I would see.
And Melania ran out of there so fast.
You were always a little more public than I was, and you'd go to Knick games and baseball games with Trump. What was that like?
Well, he is very interesting.
Why does he wear a tie to a baseball game? I never understood that.
By 40 points, right?
Right.
So I want somebody with me who's going to amuse me. So I would say to him, tell me about this. And he's honest. Most people, they don't really want to get, they don't want to tell you. He just lays it out there. So I would always have a list of people when we go to the Yankee game or the Knick game or whatever, that I said, tell me about this person. What happened here? How'd you get this done? That kind of thing. I'll give you an example. He was like Michael Jackson. He saved his career at one point. And I said, well, tell me about that. How did that happen? How does this guy conduct himself? So you can see how fascinating. And Trump has no filter. He just tell you. And, this lies business and all this stuff they peddle about him. It's a stream of consciousness. He talks in a stream of consciousness. And, he exaggerates, but anybody would know it's an exaggeration. It's like, hey, come on, Washington Post. I mean, this is the way the guy pumps it up. This is how he makes his points. Everybody knows that.
Here's my two observations.
Fascinating study. He's a fascinating study.
Tell me if I'm wrong. He has endless energy. I don't care if it's 3 in the morning.
He's a vampire.
Yeah, okay.
He's a vampire. He never sleeps.
All right, quick break. We'll come back. We'll have more with Bill O'Reilly on the other side. All right, one more quick question with Bill O'Reilly. He never rests. He's always on. But I think the one characteristic that stands out the most, and you tell me if you disagree, is when people ask me about him, he is fearless. He does not care. He's unlike every other politician. They all hide who they really are. He wears who he is on his sleeve every single second moment of the day.
But here's something you may not know. He gets his feelings hurt. He doesn't show it. He never, ever show it. But he does. And the other thing that's fascinating about Trump is how loyal his 3 oldest children are to him. Because he wasn't the dad that takes you bowling, is hanging out with you. It's not what he did. But those 3 kids, for whatever reason, are so loyal to him. And I would say to most parents across the country, if you had children, adult children, who loved you that much,
you did something right. Yeah.
And you will never see any of that in the media or in the discussions or anything like that. Never.
Bill,
and I just think that's so brutally unfair. Look,
Bill,
the guy's
if
not
he
perfect,
cured
as
cancer,
I said in the beginning of this conversation, when he runs against Biden, that is going to be a free-for-all. I'm going to enjoy that immensely.
If he cured cancer and gave every American $5 million and adopted the new Green Deal, these people on the left would still hate him. That's how psychotic they are. But I got to let you go. Bill O'Reilly, Thank you for being with us. 800-941-SEAN, toll-free telephone number.